What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rebel Yankee podcast. It's God First, Guts and Guns. I'm your host, Jan Backus, and I'm pleased to have a very special guest, a former bounty hunter, former YouTube bounty hunter,
right?
A former MMA fighter.
That happened?
Yep. And the podcast host of After the Final Bell.
That's right.
The producer of this podcast.
Oh.
And I don't know how to describe you, but the producer slash man behind the curtain for...
second in charge.
Okay, yeah, we can't forget Kay Miller. Second in charge of the Awesome Podcast.
Team Awesome Podcast Studios.
Team Awesome Podcast.
Team Awesome Podcast Studios.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thank you.
We've been in this room once before recording a podcast.
But the other way.
Yeah. Same seats, different color mics.
Right.
Yeah.
You switched me.
It was cool. I came on Trevor's podcast in this room, and then we decided to give the Rebel Yankee podcast a shot, and here he is as a guest. I think it's awesome.
I'll try my best.
So far. What I want to get into today is being willing to step into God's calling over your life. Then we're going to get into Trevor's perspective or point of view about what he calls religion. Then we're going to get into the Colorado use of deadly force laws, the castle doctrine, and some things you should never do or say.
See, we're probably on the same train tracks in that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm actually very interested to learn where you're at as far as your relationship with God. I'm not, and we'll get into it.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I mean, I know a little bit, and then I don't know anything at the same time.
I know everything and nothing.
Yeah. You guys ever watch The Ozarks?
I was about to say it. And then I tried to be family friendly.
Yeah. We appreciate that. Although the F-bomb has already been dropped on this show, not by me, but we won't mention any names. Ryan? Well, this week's been a great week spiritually. I've been tested. I've had some things come up that are super important to me that aren't really going my way. I had an MRI yesterday, which I am no doctor and I don't know how to read MRIs, but I did look at mine, and from what I could tell, not that great. But I'm 100% trusting God's plan, and I know if it's not this, he's going to have something else amazing for me to do, and I'm just along for the ride, really.
Yeah, you're not driving.
Nope. So this week's verse I want to get into is Isaiah 6:8, and Isaiah is part of the Old Testament, right? That's a book in the Old Testament. The Old Testament to me is wild. It's just, it was different back then, you know? And, being born a Jew and living out of the Old Testament when I was religious, I was pretty familiar with some of this, but then I kind of don't really get into the Old Testament very much. But there's a verse, I consider it one of those anchor verses where people might get it on their shirt or a coffee mug. And it's Isaiah 6:8, and it says, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then I said, here I am, send me. And I just always thought that was powerful. Like, you know what? Step up, like, don't be shy. Step into what God's calling you in to do. And, it could be anything. Like, it could be a fight, could be a show, could be,
You never know.
I'll do it, People tattoo it, they post it online. But what really makes this verse so great or so powerful? So of course I dug in, and you can't just look at that one verse. We got to go a little deeper and go into the beginning of the verses and a little bit of context. There was this king Uzziah, and Uzziah was a great king and he did a lot of things right, but then he did something a little bit wrong and he ended up getting leprosy. And Isaiah is just like, whoa, like this is somebody I thought was solid.
Right.
So, verse 1 says, in a year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting up on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. This is what I'm saying about the Old Testament. It's just so grandiose. And like I could picture this. First of all, God sitting on a throne, not on a chair, but like a big throne, high and lifted up. And then the trail of his robe filled the temple. So the train of the robes, they said if you had a train on your robe, it wasn't easy to work with.
Right.
So if you had a train on your robe, it pretty much meant you're not doing too much
There's
work.
not a lot of dirty hands in your house.
Exactly. Above him stood the seraphim, which was like a fiery, angelic figure. Each had 6 wings. With 2, he covered his face, and with 2, he covered his feet, and with 2, he flew. So even these angels, they didn't even want to look at God, so they would cover their face. They didn't feel like they were worthy to look at the Lord. And something to do with the feet, like being in a vulnerable position. I didn't understand the whole foot thing. And then the other 2 they flew with. And one called to the other and said, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." And they won't even talk to God. They're talking to each other, and God's right there. Right?
I can hear you.
Yeah. And the foundation of the threshold shook at the voice of him who called, and the house was filled with smoke. And I said, "Woe is me, for I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of the people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts." Like he didn't even feel like he was worthy to say, "Holy, holy, holy." Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a burning coal that he had taken with tongs from the altar. And he touched my mouth and said, "Behold, this has touched your lips, and your guilt is taken away, and your sin atoned for." And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Then I said, "Here I am, send me." So pretty wild if you start thinking about all that.
The Old Testament is,
It's lit.
wow.
Yeah. And it just makes me think like, wow, that God is the same God that is here now. And that could become overwhelming for me. So let's reflect on Isaiah's encounter. Isaiah had just been rocked by a vision of God. The whole place was shaken. The angels are crying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." There's smoke filling the room. And Isaiah, he just falls apart right there. And he starts, "Woe is me, I'm a man of unclean lips." He didn't feel bold. He didn't feel strong. He felt broken, like he didn't belong anywhere near a holy God. And I know I felt like I haven't belonged before. We talk about the imposter syndrome and, so
I was just going to say.
Yeah, so you could imagine, being in that room, like, why am I here? But here's the beauty of it. God sends an angel with a hot coal, not to burn him, but to purify him. He said, "Your guilt is gone, your sin forgiven." That's grace right there. And then comes a call. Whom shall I send? Who will go for us? And Isaiah, now humbled but forgiven, says, "Here I am, send me." He didn't clean himself up. God did. He didn't come ready. Grace made him ready, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a message here. God isn't out here looking for the strong. He's calling the willing. I've heard it said before, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the willing. You got to be willing. And that's people with stories. If you look at the people of the Bible, there's a bunch of broken, messing people in the Bible. Moses, he killed a man. Abraham, he was ready to kill his son.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, there's just so much broken people cheating and stealing and killing. And God uses all these people that have been through some things, people with scars, people who know what it's like to need grace just to get through the day. You don't have to have it all together. You just need to say, "Here I am, send me." So I ask, what is it God's calling or asking of you? Maybe it's just being real at your job, right? Maybe you're the person that other people will come to for advice, and then you get to lift them up in Jesus' name. You got to know your audience. That happens to me at my work a lot. I don't just, start hitting them over the head with God, but, if I can
You don't Bible beat them into submission?
I don't.
What are you doing then?
I must be doing it wrong. Could be loving your family a little bit better. Could be owning your past. And that's the thing about your past. Let's say you had a sinful past, at least own it and use it, right? To help other people. Or it could be stepping into something that scares you, like this podcast, right? Whatever it is, don't wait until you're perfect. He's not asking for perfect. He's asking for presence. Just be present and willing, present and willing, and just say, here I am, send me. It's not just a verse. It's more of a posture. So that's what was on my heart this week in regards to a Bible verse. I see a lot of head nodding over there. So I'd like to hear what you think, Trevor.
It's very interesting because we were just recently having a conversation where you said, if you've made the mistake, own it. And my not as religious mind always tells people to Eminem it.
Eminem it. Explain.
So in the movie 8 Mile, he's a rap battler.
Yeah.
And one of the very last scenes, he's going up against a guy who's supposed to be like the one. So he goes on stage and then just lists everything derogatory about himself.
Right.
Everything that the guy could possibly say bad about him. He just says it all before him and goes, now what do you have to say? So same idea.
Sure.
Different vernacular. But I tell people all the time, just if you messed up, dude, Eminem it.
Like it.
Own it before somebody owns you.
Yep.
Because if you don't, the most powerful thing about a secret is that it's a secret.
Sure.
So if you've made mistakes and you're worried about them coming out into light, the best thing you can possibly do is, and you don't have to own it to everybody in the world,
right?
But the people that matter, the people that it would affect, the people that have the right to have, for lack of a better word, some judgment of you, your wife, your parents, your children,
best friends,
your
people you respect,
your core.
Yeah.
Just stand up and own and just say, listen, guys, I've fallen. Like I did this or that. Yes, this is a choice I made. It was not a good choice, but I would rather you guys hear the why and the how from me than, especially in this world where, look at that CEO at the Coldplay show.
Oh man.
He doesn't get to go home and have a conversation with his wife that is, I've made some mistakes or I've made some choices in my life. He gets to go home and have a conversation of, so you saw me on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, that's probably going to be pretty awkward, or who knows what else they've gone through and what their lives have been like. But yeah, that guy got clobbered more than my TikTok reel.
Oh yeah, you're like, whew, see,
yeah,
other people get it.
You got problems, buddy.
Hey, going viral doesn't always mean it's for the right things.
Along those lines, I used to tell my stepdaughter Bella, like if she was getting bullied at school and somebody said, you're a nerd. I'm just making that up. And it's like, yeah, I am a nerd. I wish I could be as cool as you. When you do stuff like that, you just take power away from people for sure.
So growing up, for the longest time, I was very ashamed of where I came from and how I came up.
Okay.
And then as I matured and now I'm old, now people are, before it was, oh, you're white trash. Oh, you live in the projects. And now I'm like, you know what? This is where I came from. Like, I'll take you down there. I'll show you the place I lived in. I'll show you the things that we did. But now let me show you that it doesn't, you don't have to be embarrassed of it. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to not take the power away from it.
Sure.
You can't tell me I'm white trash if I tell you
I'm white trash.
I was raised white trash.
Right.
It's just like anything else, anything you do.
And this isn't from me, this isn't original, but I saw this and I loved it. And this girl was on a short or a reel and she said, you know what? When you bring up my past, it's like robbing a house that I don't live at anymore.
Sure.
That's not my stuff.
Yeah.
It's not my stuff. Yeah.
Well, to an extent, if you've owned your stuff,
right?
If you've dealt with your stuff, made amends with your stuff or the people that your stuff affected, and then you move forward from it, then they're talking about a bag of things that aren't yours any longer. Because you're at that point, you're allowed, once you make amends, true amends, not like, hey, sorry about that,
Right.
but true amends, you make amends for something you did wrong. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to forgive you. It doesn't mean that it's going to be accepted, but you've done your portion. So at that point, you're allowed to put that down.
It sounds to me so interesting. You've described confessing and repenting.
Sure.
Yeah, you just called it different things.
Dude, okay, if we want to break the ice on it, I have been very religious. I have been completely anti-religious.
Mm.
I've become spiritual.
Okay.
But I guess more in landing conversations in my own world. So am I anti-God, no, not at all. Not at all. Some of my very best friends are some of the most spiritual. I'll never say religious, because religious people are the reason, in my opinion, that 90% of the people walk away from God.
They say the problem with Christianity is the Christians.
Right. Yeah. I mean, getting beat over the head with the Bible does not make you want to go back to church.
Mm-hmm.
Or living in the Old Testament fire and brimstone.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no better way to drive someone away than to tell them how terrible, everything you've done is terrible. That doesn't work. I've said before, and I'm sure I'll say many times again, even if you strip all of the religious tones from the Bible and you just read the Bible, it's actually a pretty good self-help book. What does it say? Help people when they need help. Ask for forgiveness when you make mistakes. Do what you can to make things better around you. Also have accountability to yourself and others, and expect the same accountability in return. If you take it just for its literary surface, it's a great book. The only thing that ever really messes it up is the people who are telling you in the wrong situations. You take people who become religious, and then they use religion to gain power or to gain riches, and it doesn't create a walk the way I walk type of thing. Mm-hmm. We've at different times, not knowing each other, but attended the same church, worked in the same portions of that church. Mm-hmm. I love Flatirons. Jim Bergen is probably one of the few people that I would probably sit and listen to. Just if he read only the Old Testament and told me I was dying every day, he would probably do it in a way that would make me okay with it when I left. So I truly appreciate that about him a lot. But it's not always seen that way.
I think part of the problem, right? Number one is there's a lot of Bible hurt.
Yeah.
Because the generation before ours was, in fact, beat over the head with the Bible quite a bit, right?
And then, very fire and brimstone. Yeah.
And then even people our age. But I feel like there is a movement in the younger generation coming up now because their parents weren't doing that to them.
Right.
I feel like what I'm seeing is a lot of, teenagers are seeking God now, right? So I feel like the Bible hurt kind of caused some of that. Obviously, judging. First of all, Jesus was anti-religion.
Right.
He came to abolish
the religious.
Not to abolish, excuse me. He came to fulfill the law, not to abolish the law. You still have to,
still this thing.
Yeah, you're forgiven, right? But let's remember what we're forgiven of, and we're set free from things, so let's not go back to them. But there's still So I went to a lot of what we'll call new age churches. When I say a lot, I mean Flatirons. I've been to Red Rocks. I went to Life Church, went on their grand opening just to check it out. That's the new one on I-25 right over here. These are all new age churches, and they're always going to deliver a message that makes the new believer feel welcome, which is awesome. In my walk, there came a point where I don't care about anybody else. I want to be punched in the mouth a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I do like the fire and brimstone a little bit. Like that's okay for me, you know? And I think there's a line, depending on where somebody is in their walk, where, you know, because then I went to a smaller church. And this smaller church, they were very charismatic, and there was things going on in there that I wasn't used to, you know. Made me question some things, and going to that church did do something for me, you know. But I ended up back at Red Rocks, which is where I consider home and where I'm rooted. Now, was every message going to speak to me? No, but it might speak to the person who really needed to hear it. So I think part of the problem is like the people of these other churches even look at me. Like, I had a guy on Facebook tell me that churches like Flatirons and Red Rocks just make you feel comfortable with your sin. And that's a problem. And I'm like, not really. But as a new believer, I remember hearing about grace. And boy, I just leaned on that grace.
Well, yeah, I mean, grace is the perfect out.
Yeah, it's scandalous. Grace is scandalous because you didn't earn it. You don't deserve it. There's nothing you could do to get it.
Right.
You just get it, right? And that's because of Jesus. And then further along my walk, I started like wanting to know more about the truth. Like, I think it's good to lean on grace, but you got to stand on the truth too.
Well, there's a line. There's a line between accepting grace because you've done the work but still feel unworthy. And it's okay. I think that's more the line of grace for me. Too many people lean on, all I have to do is go to church on Sunday, and all the crap I did all week long, I'll be forgiven for because grace. No, grace is for those who admit, accept, atone, and still feel like they haven't done enough, and they beat themselves up about it. And then, you know, someone lands a message on you that says, hey man, you're never going to feel like you've made enough. But guess what? You have.
Yeah, the do more, try harder, right? That's not what a relationship with Jesus is about. Grace is for everybody. I mean, from me to you to somebody that's committed murder to somebody that's a thief.
But is it?
Grace itself, nobody is beyond God's grace.
I agree.
Paul was on his way to, persecute Christians. Paul from the Bible was on his way to...
Not Paul, our friend.
No, was on his way to to persecute Christians when he bumped into Jesus, and he became, an apostle appointed by God, right? What do you do if you... Okay, so there's a whole works thing, right? Where, you can't outwork somebody for God's grace.
No.
Right? It's by faith, through grace.
I'm a better Christian because I've gone to more Bible studies.
I gave more money.
I paid more.
Yeah, no, you can't outwork.
I wore more T-shirts.
I went to serve more food. And Jesus did this on purpose because he wanted to make everybody equal. That was the whole point of the Sermon on the Mount. Like, oh, you think that you never committed murder? Well, if you looked with your brother with hate in your heart, you have. Oh, you haven't committed adultery? Well, if you looked at her butt, sorry, bud, you have. And he just kind of evened that playing field saying, listen, works, it doesn't matter, right? But also in the Bible, it says, grace without works is dead, right? So there has to be a point.
So we're making a similar point.
We are making a similar point. Absolutely. There has to be a point where you decide, like, if I just keep taking this grace and I don't change, I don't really appreciate or understand what grace is about.
Right.
And that's that whole Galatians 5:1 is for freedom, Christ set you free. So do not be burdened again by the yoke of slavery, right? You've already been set free from these things. Why go back to it?
Right. If you repeating the pattern is not learning, moving forward, bettering yourself.
Right.
Repeating the pattern with the belief in your mind where you're like, it doesn't matter because grace.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's dangerous.
And
I've heard Jim
the old adage, Catholicism.
Cool.
You can commit any sin you want as long as you have confession before you die.
Right.
So I could be the worst person ever, and on my deathbed, 30 seconds before I check out, I can give confession, ask for forgiveness.
When I look at Catholicism, I think religion. When I look at Judaism, I think religion.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at what I think Christianity is, I see relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not traditions. It's not saying Hail Mary. It's not light a menorah. It's not. Yeah.
Well, what was the old? Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was part of the Old Testament, a lot of the Jewish faith, where you couldn't leave your house on the Sabbath.
You could leave your house. Oh, sorry.
But the story, so instead of taking it for what it's meant, was that is a day to be with your family, home, resting and doing the things that are. The religious part of it was, okay, well, if I take a brick from my house and put it in my pocket, now I can leave because I'm still with my house.
Or is that considered working? Because I know you couldn't even turn a light on.
Right. But
I mean, because that was considered work. I'm like,
right.
Work.
That my whole point, it's, if you're looking for a way to circumvent the rule by still following the rule, you missed the point of the reason. God was asking you to rest.
Right.
You're looking for a way to say, well, God, you said can't do this, but looky.
Yeah, I heard something in Colorado I've never heard of before. And at one point, so I wasn't like born into a religious Jewish home. I was born into, my mother was Jewish, my father wasn't. My stepfather, later my adopted father, was Catholic. My grandparents on my mother's side were very traditional Jews, But when I was 13 and I got bar mitzvahed, I felt the Lord and I decided to go down this path. So I know a little bit about the Orthodox Jews because I moved away from home to a yeshiva in Brooklyn in Sheepshead Bay. My parents would come visit me on Sundays, and that was me at 14. Yeah, wanted to be a rabbi, right? Never heard of this before. Out here in Colorado, I heard of a Jew rope. Have you ever heard that? A Jew wire? So they
around
a neighborhood.
Yeah,
like I've never heard of that, and that makes it okay to do certain things and go certain places. I'm like, I've never heard of that
because it's connected to your house.
But
it's a grid,
it's like
around.
A perimeter. Right. Yeah.
So you've increased the perimeter of your home.
Something like that. I don't know enough about it to really speak on it, but
it's very similar to what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Where you circumvent the law by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if I have a piece of my house with me, I didn't really leave my house.
What was so interesting for me, so I walked away from the Jewish religion. When I say walked away, I still believed in God. I still said I was a Jew. But I walked away from yeshiva and everything. I was 14 or 15 years old. And a lot of these things didn't make sense to me. And I didn't know anything about Jesus until 2009, 2010.
Is that when his greatest hits came out?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is a whole new playlist for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when I learned about what Jesus did, it made complete, like he came and fulfilled all those things that I thought were kind of crazy. He took care of those things. And I was like, I like this dude,
Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
I think I have the hardest time with religion because it's become so commonplace to cherry pick the important things. And so I wouldn't say rightfully, but I avoid religious people a lot because the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You can't, those people you cannot have a conversation with because they're going to cherry pick the things that fit their narrative. And that's it. Like there's no There is no verse before it or after it. We're only talking about
They're highlighting the parts of the Bible they like and cutting out the parts that they don't like.
It's only this. Okay, but can you back up and read the verse right before that? No, because that
or the commandment.
Right.
You know, like I think a lot of people forget. I mean, if you want to sum up Christianity, love God, love people. I mean that's what you have to do. And loving people is hard, you know?
That's the hardest part of it all.
Yeah. For me, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think we're really more on the same page.
Yeah, we're not that different.
Right.
We're not. Like I'm not I admittedly I'm like I don't do church. Should I? And have I felt better in my life when I was on a regular schedule of attending? Yeah. Have I also, fatigue is a big buzzword right now. Liberal fatigue or conservative fatigue or, whatever. Sometimes, and I'm probably in one of those stages in my life right now where I have religious fatigue. I don't. It's such a undertaking to go, going to church becomes, and it shouldn't, because it should be where you go to really feel good. But sometimes the whole situation around it is it's going to take an hour to park. It's going to be this. Then we got to do them, and everyone's going to, and then with this, and then with that. I'll admit, I often catch Jim's sermon on Facebook Live.
Nice.
You know why? Because I don't have to deal with any of the outside stuff.
You don't leaving the house.
That too. But it's also the biggest negative that it's available to me.
Right.
Because I should be with people.
We are designed for community.
Well, I should be with people because it's better for me to learn grace and tolerance and patience through experience of being around people that I'm just like, instead of making that face, being able to meet them where they are and understand them for who they are.
Sure.
As I get older, I get more like Archie Bunker, where I don't care to meet people where they are all the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I got to work hard on that every day,
That's why I keep a very small circle, but the people in my circle, I would, maybe you can attest to or tell me I'm wrong, but the people in my circle know they're loved.
Oh, yeah.
They know they're cared for. Yeah. They know that they're going to get built up. I just don't have the mental capacity or energy to do it in amplified volume.
It's different. I mean, we have 110 trucks at my job.
Yeah.
We have probably 117 drivers, somewhere around there, and 117 different personalities. And as leaders, we get to deal with them all. And, trying to treat everybody. And that's something that the owners of the company really pushes. We treat everybody the same. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you came from or what color you are or what your background is.
Right.
We're all here doing the same thing. We're all going to get treated the same way. Are we perfect at it? No. I mean, we're not perfect at it because of race or sex or any of those things. We're not perfect at it because some people try us a little more than other people. And those are the people it's
because
hard.
We don't walk on water?
Yeah, sometimes it's like a light switch for me. It's like, oh, you're dead to me. I just had a mini funeral in my head for you. Like, we're done.
Dude, I am the CEO of
mini funerals.
People who don't ever know, and it's never going to be a discussion. And they don't know because
you don't let them know.
But they're just done. Like, yeah.
You don't deal with them.
You're out.
Yep. Love God, love people. By the way, when I introduced Trevor, I forgot to mention two very important things. He is a husband and a father. How many?
Most importantly, both of those.
Yes.
4 daughters, 7 grandkids.
Wow. And a grandfather. Yes.
1 amazing wife.
Yep.
who grounds me the most. If I was a smart man, I'm not, I would listen to her more often. And I would probably have a standing Sunday obligation or opportunity to attend church because she will often mention it. And I'm very good at being busy. And I should take her lead and listen. I just get tired.
I get that. And I'm not here to throw stones or judge or
It's okay.
I'm here to encourage and
You could judge me.
Nah. I'm here to encourage and suggest, but in my eyes, you should lead that. You should be
and I understand that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
And what will it do for the kids and the grandkids?
Well, luckily, as you spoke about earlier, how this next generation is coming around to find God their own way.
Yeah.
Luckily, because my daughter's moms and I have never been Bible thumpers. We introduced them to church. We brought them to Flatirons where we knew it was going to be more of an accepting, understanding, energetic, feeling that, because I think a lot of kids get pushed into the small church where you sit there for 3 hours and it's a sermon on how terrible of a person you are. Because, those the Old Testament churches and some of the, sometimes you're just like, oh my, I don't know if I can go on. But when you bring young children to those scenarios where they don't have a connection early because it's not something that brings positivity out of them, I think those people shut religion out faster. My kids were very, their moms go. We all go or have gone to the same church together and separately at different times and for different amounts. But I think because of their introduction to religion in that way, they all will just pop up and say, "Hey, church this Sunday, who's coming? We'll save seats."
Nice. What's the age range of the kids and the grandkids?
So 26 to 17.
Okay, so
26, 24, 20, 17.
So the 17 to 20 to 24-year-old, I think, could be part of young adults, which is a really good group. And then what about the grandkids?
7 and under.
Okay, they're a little young. For youth. But you should consider a Saturday night service. They don't have them at Flatirons right now, but Red Rocks in Arvada, they have a Saturday at 5 p.m. It's pretty mellow as far as parking and all the things that you don't really like. The only thing that I don't know if you will dig or not, it's basically streamed into the church. It's live worship, which is really great.
I'll just watch it from home then.
Yeah, I figured
if I'm going somewhere to watch TV.
Right. I like it because of the worship. But
yeah.
I mean, I have a struggle right now myself going to church because honestly, when I go to church now, I go about every other week and I serve. I serve on the safety team. And I've been having a little trouble getting dialed into the messages that they're giving, because whatever reason.
Well, sometimes you're just not running in parallel to that set of lessons or messages that are going on.
That's an excuse.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And this is where we're going to probably disagree the most.
Great. Mine's already pointed at you. Joke's on you.
What are you holding it with? Here's where we're probably going to disagree the most. You want to say that
tell me what I want to say.
Well, based on what the response you just gave, when I said maybe right now you're just not running parallel with the message. Your response to that is maybe you're not listening to the message.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or, and this is where, if we want to bring the religious part into it, God gave us free will. and discernment. And sometimes, just because we feel obligated, maybe that message is for you. Well, you know what? Maybe sometimes it's just not.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about not, like, I don't beat myself up about
Right.
it.
I mean, but it's okay for it just sometimes to not.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. And the other thing is I've been diving pretty deep into the scripture.
Right.
So I feel like I am getting and just to be clear, I know I can't do it on my own. It's better to have community, but I have community.
Right.
Like I have brothers from Red Rocks Church. I have my best friend, Timmy, all these people that believe. So I have a community of people, I just may not go to a church with them, but digging into the scriptures for this podcast has been great. But I do miss going and getting my cup filled.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And I don't disagree with that at all.
It's hard for me sometimes when I go and I leave and I feel like my cup is just the same as when I went in, because sometimes I feel maybe the message was a little, I don't want a watered down message, you know what I mean? But I understand somebody needs to hear what they're talking about, maybe even me.
Well, and sometimes there's the reason that it's that way is because there's people sitting there that if you were to hit them over the head with it,
they'll never come back.
But you give the same message with that different tone, and those same people that would have been mad and left are now going,
I like this place.
Wait a minute.
So
was he talking to me?
I had somebody describe Flatirons. They called it a beginner church.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
I don't feel that way because I've heard Jim, I've heard Scott Nickel give like these powerful sermons where it's like, oh, this is for everybody,
To those people, though, I just go like this. Okay.
Right.
If the only way to do it is the way that I say to do it,
right,
I'm the one that's wrong.
Right, exactly. Let me ask you
because
this.
People want to say, like, Flatirons or Red Rocks is a acceptance church or a starter church. And what am I supposed to mature and grow into a secondary church? Or have I found a place that I connect with, that I can receive a message from that actually lands for me?
Right.
And I'm drawn back to come and hear more.
And learn more on your own. Dive deeper and start thinking for yourself.
Because if that's what being a starter church is, I hope they're all starter churches.
Right.
Because I've gone to other churches where I'm just like, how much longer? If we leave now, we can miss all the parking traffic and we can get the first seat at Denny's.
First watch.
First watch is disgusting.
Denny's isn't?
At least at Denny's, there's 20 years of griddle flavor.
First watch is great.
First watch.
The $1 million bacon?
I don't think they even have salt or pepper.
Are you kidding me?
It is the least seasoned place I've ever eaten.
I don't know. We might have to go.
Well, we can. I'll let you order for me.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out.
Have you had the $1 million bacon?
No, I've gone there twice.
Okay.
And both times I've gone there, I've ordered things that I would normally order at a restaurant for breakfast. And it came and it tasted like it
too
was
healthy
from white people.
Gotcha. Interesting. Let me ask you a little bit more about your faith. Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is you believe in God.
Okay.
Yes or no?
A version, yes.
Okay. Do you believe Jesus is part of the Trinity?
Well, I don't believe that he's the same person as some religions are, like they're all like this combined. No, I believe that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit all work together. Like I can land on that.
Okay.
At times I've believed that is 100%. Other times I believed that is a really cool story you're telling. And if you're trying to get me to live right, that's a good way to tell me. But I don't I've honestly, I've been at times in my life where I just don't connect, and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I don't fault you for that, and I'm not trying to jam you.
Well,
up here.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
And I don't want you to feel I'm jamming you up.
I won't ever feel jammed up.
Okay. I guess my question is, if you believe in God
Mm-hmm.
and you believe Jesus if you believe God sent his only son to die on a cross for our sins, do you believe that?
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. Do you feel, so I use this term sold out. Like, I have friends I know that sold out for Jesus. Like, they live their lives for Jesus. I would like to think that I do, right? And then there's another term I use, and this isn't throwing stones, but like lukewarm. Like, yeah, I believe in all those things, and I'm gonna go to church occasionally, and that's it. You know what I mean? And I've also heard it said, like, and I feel like I heard Jim Bergen say it, and I feel like I've heard, and if you didn't say Jim, I'm sorry. And I feel like I heard Joe Rogan actually say it as well. Like, how much do you have to dislike somebody to not tell them about Jesus? Like, if you,
I understand where you're coming from.
Like, if you believe, right? How much and God's doing. If you believe in this thing and you live your life for God, how much do you have to not like somebody to not tell them about the grace of God?
And I get it.
And then, you know, God doesn't. I don't know where it is in the scripture, so I don't want to put words in his God's mouth, but I don't want to be lukewarm.
You don't want to get clipped on TikTok for saying the wrong thing.
I'm not worried about TikTok.
I'm just kidding.
Actually, I like getting clipped on TikTok. Not that it was viral. It wasn't viral on TikTok. If that was Facebook, that would have been somewhat viral. 157,000 views. I'm like, and I'm still getting hate every once in a while. Somebody going to, oh, you must be a Democrat, or I'm like, oh, how dare you?
Ouch.
Wow. You're getting.
I've been called a lot of things.
Listen, there's people cursing on me out here, but you're getting deleted for that one.
That's personal.
I guess so. Like, if you truly believe, like, don't you feel you should live your life for Jesus? If he did all these things for us and saved our lives, like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. And being 100% honest and transparent with you, here's where your people are going to hate me a lot.
You're my people.
I believe that it's everyone's responsibility to find their walk.
I would agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I've learned through experience, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, left, right, indifferent. What I've learned through experience is the more someone wants to compel me to listen, the less I want to hear. You are one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you.
And the reason behind that, and this is no bullshit, the reason behind that is because I know that you are religious. Well, I know that you are spiritual. Okay.
You know I love Jesus.
I know that there you go. But you know that I am not walking the same walk as you.
Right.
At no point do you try to badger me, beat me, guilt me, or say, hey, can we sit down and have some, can we have some fellowship? I feel like you live a life that says, hey, I want to know what that guy's doing. And that's where it is for me.
That's a big compliment.
Instead of if you were you and then you were like clone you over here, and every time you came in to do a podcast, it was like Bizarro World. Like I would see you first and then I would see clone you. And you acted like you and led your life the way you do, and clone you every time you came in said, hey man,
Trevor, we need to talk.
I just need you. Like, have you thought about your relationship with Jesus today? I would really like to invite you to come to church with me. I really, and that's what I think a lot of people like me take from, if you love Jesus, why would you not tell everybody? Why do you not want someone to know? yes, that guy is going to make me never go to church.
You have to know your audience.
This guy will probably at some point have me go, let me know when you're going. I'd like to attend with you.
Right.
Why? Because not once did you browbeat me
Right.
or okey doke me with the old, hey buddy, let's get some, that's where anyone who stands in front of me and tells me how great Jesus is and how I need to really be connected with Jesus. And I hear, hey, have you had a blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah, blah. With you, I was willing to sit down for your podcast because I like the way that you live your life.
Appreciate it.
The example you make is of someone who I go, I like what he's got. I want some of that.
I was excited when you said you wanted to come on, and it was like, hey, if you want, I'll come on, and if you want to have somebody with a different religious opinion or something like that, I was like, well, I know Trevor. I mean, I know you for 15 years, and I feel like we talk about, not that we talk about politics a whole lot, but people not be able to discuss things and still be friends. Like I know we could
have the biggest disagreement right now.
Right.
And as soon as we were done with the discussion, I would love you the same.
Sure.
And
Same.
yeah.
Same.
No, I'm not going to get hurt by anything.
So I do feel like Christians and I would have never had this conversation with you. Like, hey, do you feel like you're lukewarm for the Lord? Don't you think I'm trying to learn more about you and
right. No, this is the reason we're here is
to
your
do this,
podcast explores these subjects.
Right.
So it gives the perfect opportunity.
So I feel like people need to know their audience because when I first came to Christ, I didn't want to hear about, selling out for Jesus. I mean, I still wanted to chase tail and I still wanted to, when the first time I went to Flatirons, I think I was up all night, hadn't slept. I was on ecstasy the night before. Like, yeah, I mean, it was wild.
Inked out.
Yeah, it was, the first few, and it took me a while to, realize,
maybe my Saturday shouldn't be so hard so I can enjoy my Sunday the right way.
Yeah, I was lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't want to hear about that. But then I started, what I call the sanctification process, and I started, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And, the things I didn't care about were easy, like murdering. I don't care about murdering. I could take that off.
Still not going to murder.
Yeah. Stealing. Yeah, I'm not a thief. That's easy.
Pretty good here.
Sexual morality.
We'll work on it.
You talking to me, guy? You know what I mean?
Hey, I said no to all these things. We'll work on that.
Yeah, I'm not ready yet, But I remember I had my friend D Sharp. He's a Christian musician.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me to do a video for one of his songs. And he had one of his other musician friends there where, I mean, everything that came out of his mouth was, to God be all the glory, to God be all the glory, to God be all the glory. And if I met him today, I mean, I would love to hear that from him, But back then I was just like, I get it, dude. I wasn't there. So to me, you have to know your audience. When you meet somebody, I'm a little bit more vocal in the sense that if somebody asks me, I'm telling them like, yeah, I love Jesus.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like if you ask me, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going to be very
direct.
Like,
well, and we've had conversations where I ask you about something biblical, and you're very, very happy that the door has been opened.
Yeah.
But you also understand that is one question with one answer.
Right.
And if you keep stringing, even if you think, like a lot of people think, it's just out of the goodness of my heart, I just want to keep telling you. I just want to keep telling you.
Right.
And what you don't realize is when you do that, people like me go, I'm never going to ask him a question again.
Right. Yeah, no, there has to be that separation. I hear that, and then, knowing your audience, I'll ask people at work, like, if they come to me with a problem, we'll talk for a while and I'll start feeling them out. And I'm like, do you know the Lord? And sometimes they'll be like, nah.
I'm good on that.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, if you ever change your mind and you want to know, let me
Right.
know. And then I'll try to address their situation from a different angle.
Meet them where they are.
Yeah. You know. So yeah, I mean,
I think you do a really good job.
I appreciate
And like I said, I was willing to come on and have this discussion and invite you into my home to film a podcast because I appreciate the way that you carry yourself and the way that you live your life. And this is that thing where my confirmation bias is if more people from the religious or God-loving sector came out publicly the way you do about religion, I think a lot more people like me would be more engaged in having conversations.
Love it.
Because a lot of the time, someone will bring something up and we'll have what I think should be a very brief conversation because maybe I don't know you well enough to have that conversation. Maybe I don't know you well enough that I don't trust you inside of my spiritualism or whatever. And if you don't have the discernment to say, is this the right, am I leading this discussion the right way? Am I saying, then it's the problem because it's those people that want to, what are your thoughts on God? Do you believe? Yep. Yeah, I believe in God. Well, let me give you my testimony. Get out of my house. Or go ahead. I'm going to go start making dinner. I'll check in with you in 20 minutes.
You get started. I'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
get that.
I think there's a whole, for lack of a better word, genre of people like me who aren't anti-religion or anti-God or anti-spirituality. We're just, and this is going to sound shitty, but we're kind of anti-bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, lead by example and I will follow you.
I mean,
and when you lead, you drag me into situations and places I don't want to be, I know not to take your lead anymore.
Right.
But if you lead in a way that everything I do with you makes me feel better, makes me feel like it's the direction my life should go, that will automatically open doors for conversations that get more in depth.
Love it. Good stuff, man.
Sorry.
No, that was great.
I can soapbox pretty bad.
No,
sometimes.
I love it. You're a really good guest for a podcast. I wonder why. All right, Trevor, what do you think? Should we change gears here a little bit?
Yeah, it's on you. I mean, we can get to the part where we don't have to worry.
I'm just okay. I thought that was great.
No, it's a great comment. Dude, I love being able to have a conversation with someone who is not going to get offended, is not going to get their feelings hurt, and understands that what I'm saying is not
an attack.
Nothing like I love you. Right. And that's not, it's the same.
Yeah, one thing I know about you, bro, you want the best for everybody.
More than anything.
I've known you for 15 years, and then I've gotten to know you a lot in the last 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
And you have a giving heart. You want the best for everybody.
Well, and that's the big thing with me. When I find people that need to be invested in, I'm not saying financially. I mean,
let's grow together.
Invested in I'm bringing you into my circle because I'm doing some things, and I think that you fit in. And if you get to that point with me, I will give you everything.
You are a walking testimony of that because, and not so much anymore. And I never got like a creep feeling out of the relationship. But I've been in these situations before, and there's always kind of like a little bit of a catch.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do a podcast? Here, come use my studio. Let's see if it has legs. Let's see if it sticks. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, you don't know how to edit? We'll edit it for you.
Yeah.
You need 4:30 on Saturdays? Come to our house. Oh, you can't do it this Saturday? We'll do it. There hasn't been the thing where I'm like, now I get it.
Dude, I've been through the ringer. Okay.
Same.
I lived as a YouTuber.
Right.
I've been hoodwinked. I have been and then.
Right.
And that's what I like to call it when someone's like, yeah, everything's going to be great. And we're going to go down here. We're going to do this. And then you get halfway in and you're like fully invested in something. And they go, and then I'm going to need this.
Right. You said something to me that really bothered me when we started this. Because I asked you, like, well, because just so you know, like, okay, so this podcast is on Team Awesome Podcast Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor and Kay Miller. Is anyone involved? Is
Mike.
Mike is involved,
Yep.
right? They
It's our brainchild right now.
It's their brainchild, right? They have this platform where if you have a podcast idea, they'll talk to you about it and they'll give it a shot if
Right.
they think it's
If you have
decent.
any sustainability plan whatsoever,
Yeah.
if you have more than 45 minutes of content,
Yeah, you told me, like, listen, you're gonna have to make a commitment to do this once a week for a year.
yeah,
If nobody listens, you got to come in here every day,
talk to
every
yourself.
week, talk to yourself for a year. So I made the commitment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You told me, because I asked you, like, all right, well, what happens if somebody blows up? Then what? And you were like, oh, I already know I'm gonna get effed over. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's gonna F me over on this deal. And
Yeah.
I was just like, man, that really bothered me to hear.
Why?
I get it, because I've been through the ringer too.
Uh-huh.
And I understand when you give and you give and you give and you give and you give, eventually that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But for you to have that perspective,
But here's the thing. I'm not going to be mad at him.
I get that. And that's kind of the problem, I guess, is you so used to it and you expect it. Like, yeah, somebody's going to take advantage of me.
I live in a real world
Yeah.
where people, no matter how selfless you think you are or the people around you are, somebody is always working the angle.
Mm.
And it's going to happen. And for me, if we bring a podcast on and we build them up and give them the platform and edit for them and, try to create synergy for them, and they use that to the fullest of their ability, and then they blow up and they go, hey, thanks guys, I'm going to take my ball and go over here. It didn't hurt me. I gave someone an opportunity. They got to see who they can be. Like,
Right. Well,
they'll have another situation where they have to come to a crossroads. I'm just not the guy.
Right.
I'm like this. Hey, if you blow up and you decide to go somewhere else, cool.
and that just speaks to your heart to still be willing to
Well, to feel like
invest in,
if you're not willing to invest in people,
right.
then don't do anything. If you're not, but I don't have ownership of you or your
Right.
ideas or your product. Your product is your product. And I think the problem with the world is just because I gave you the platform doesn't give me the ownership of what you become. And you have to do with what you become what you see as best, because I don't live in your house.
Right. I get that, but there has to be some, in my eyes, some loyalty and,
I live by a very, very, very simple rule. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing. And you know what? Sometimes you're going to get screwed over and you're going to be mad right then.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing the right thing in 6 months, you're going to look back and go, oh, that's why.
There you go.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like doing the right thing because you don't ever have to think about doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to, did I do the right thing there? Doesn't feel good.
Everybody has those things where they're like, you're doing the right thing, but you get screwed over. You're doing the right thing, but you get screwed over. And then you're like, I'm never going to stop.
Right.
Stop. Usually I'll take a page out of your book. Usually that's God taking things out of your life that were fighting against you anyway.
Right. Yep. He's protecting you.
And that's how I look at it. When I say someone's going to fuck me over, I just believe that someone's going to get removed from my life before it became something that could really hurt me.
Gotcha. I love it. Good stuff.
It's just when you've been, no one will understand, but when you've lived the life that I have, like everybody and their sister has tried.
Right. All right, here we go.
I'm in.
Get into the Colorado law segment. Disclaimer. I didn't give my religious disclaimer, but I will give my law disclaimer. I am not a lawyer.
I'm leaving.
Okay. I can read and I do teach.
So you're saying these are the thoughts and opinions?
Yeah. I mean, I will stand by what I say, but if you're looking for legal advice, consult with your own lawyer. But I'm going to explain the law as I believe it to be true. How does that sound?
I mean, ignorance of the law is not a defense, but we'll go with what this is.
All right. So no disclaimer. All right. Colorado Revised Statute 18-1-704, use of physical force in defense of self or others. Okay, this is just use of physical force. Actually, deadly physical force, and when it's justified. Deadly physical force is legally justified upon another person when you reasonably believe that you or another person is in imminent danger, death or serious bodily injury.
Right.
Okay. So,
which is weird because that's a very, very vague statement.
Well, let's dive into it. Reasonably believe, somewhat of a normal, like mental capacity, believes. It's reasonable for you to believe that you or another person is in imminent, meaning right now, danger of death or serious bodily injury. So it is vague, but it's not, right? So death is pretty clear.
Well, the way it's written.
Okay.
And if I'm playing devil's advocate and I'm looking at it from someone who maybe used too much force in a situation, as it's written, my obligation to myself, if I'm trying to not get in trouble, is that every statement I make from the moment the police are involved is, I believe that they were in imminent danger of being killed.
Yeah, that's been played out a little bit. You can't just walk into court and be like, I thought my life was in danger. I thought my life was in danger. They're going to be like,
it's just vaguely written.
Right. But we're gonna get into it a little bit deeper, okay? The other thing is a lesser degree of force is inadequate.
And that's the important part.
Right? So let me just get into the rest of the law, right? It also applies to kidnapping,
right?
Sexual assault, and armed robbery.
Which are all the same as imminent danger.
You use big words, diatribe. Another way I like to say it, okay, and this is how I teach my students, does the other person, the bad guy, have the ability, the opportunity, and the intent to cause me death or serious bodily injury?
Yes.
Okay? Ability, opportunity, intent. Okay?
Ability and intent are one thing.
No, they're separate.
But no, I'm saying like if they have the ability, they have a gun, and they have the intention of killing me, but they're also locked out of the building I'm in.
No opportunity, right? Or
because a lot of time it is intent and ability.
But what if it's opportunity and intent, right? You have the opportunity and you have the intent to cause me death and great bodily injury, but you don't have the ability.
Right.
Meaning
you can't fight.
Right. Yep. So that's where the lesser degree of force comes in.
Right.
So if you, Trevor, right, and I've said this before, or any of my MMA friends that have been, on a winning streak and have a highlight reel on the internet, I could just walk into court and be like, this is what I was dealing with.
Right.
Right. He has the ability. Or let's just say you
reverse it though.
What do you mean?
As the defending myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have you have the opportunity and you have the intent to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
You have that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you may also have a knife. Okay, which gives
Ability against anybody.
Maybe.
Well, a knife is a force multiplier.
Sure. But I'm saying a person who can fight,
Right.
a high-ranking jiu-jitsu player,
Mm-hmm.
has more of a responsibility to manage the situation.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, let's take the knife out of the scenario, right? So
I can't, if you're coming at me and you want to kill me and you're in the same room with me, but I could fight,
right.
I can't shoot you, dude.
You can't use deadly force. A lesser degree of force is...
I'll just choke you.
Right. Right.
I'll just make you hit yourself.
The other thing...
Stop hitting
Uncle.
yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
The other thing I should mention is if you are the initial aggressor, all this goes away.
Right. You're not self-defense if you're the guy breaking in trying to kill me.
If I try to start a fight with Trevor or rob him or cause him, if I'm the initial aggressor and then all of a sudden I feel like I'm in imminent danger of death or serious bodily injury, I don't get to use deadly force against Trevor because I started it.
What does that say? Sleep in the bed you made?
Yeah, literally. So ability, opportunity, and intent, I love thinking about like that. The other things to consider is, was it necessary and reasonable to use deadly force?
See, now is where the law really, people need to understand this section more than the other section.
Okay. Speak on it.
Because just because you want to kill me, you have a knife, and we're in the same room, doesn't mean that I can't run.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I can't create a situation that removes your ability or your availability.
Yes. So you're talking about duty to retreat.
Well, I'm talking about duty to not kill someone unless you absolutely positively, and that level is different for different people.
And different.
For me, the scenario is way different than my wife.
Absolutely.
Like if you break into the house and I'm home alone, are you going to get shot? Probably not. Maybe.
Huh.
You got a gun and...
We'll talk about castle doctrine.
Like I'm in public. We don't even have to say house. Yep. But you're way more likely to get
shot by Kim.
You're way more likely to get choked unconscious by me.
Right.
Regardless of the situation, than you are shot. Now, my wife, who is 5'6" and 100 pounds on a good day, is not the same thing. Right. Imminent danger is different.
Sure.
The ability to retreat is different. And she could shoot.
Right. I've seen it. Just to be clear, Colorado does not have a duty to retreat law.
Yeah. And legally, morally.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. We're talking about Colorado law.
Right.
You don't have a duty to retreat here. Some states you have to try to get away. It's a good idea to try to get away, and that'll really help you in court as well. But you do not have to try to get away. As
tough as people want to be, or as mentally strong as people want to be, if you are of quality at all, the last thing you want to deal with for the rest of your life is knowing that you took another life.
That's a whole nother can of worms, right?
Yeah.
Also, the money involved in a self-defense case.
You're going to jail.
Well, not necessarily. You could.
You're going to jail.
You'll go bankrupt if you don't have some...
You're getting arrested that day.
Yeah, it's crazy. So just to remember, just to consider, was it necessary and reasonable? Was there a reasonable alternative? Running away, stuff like that.
Closing the door.
Yeah. Rolling the window up. Okay. Those are all things to consider, right?
Foot on the gas pedal, leave the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to mention is do not destroy your self-defense case on social media or anywhere else. And you laugh because you see it. You'll see on Facebook, somebody will, there'll be a news article like Fox or somebody will put out,
if they broke into my house,
or if I see them
with me,
if I see them in my backyard,
yeah,
I'm gonna shoot them from my window.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Then somebody breaks into your backyard and you shoot them from the window. Guess what? Premeditated. Yeah.
Well, it's such a fine line because I just put up a promo video for a company that sponsors me of me combat shooting.
Yeah.
Walking and shooting, moving and shooting. Now, because it's online, the prosecutor is going to grab that and try to use it.
Yeah.
And say, this guy prepares for these situations. This guy, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not asking for the situation.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's something.
It's such a fine line. Because
that's something a good self-defense attorney should be able to.
Right. But you know what I mean? It's like this weird dichotomy where, yeah, this is something that I do. It's enjoyable.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. What if.
I also feel.
What if, God forbid, I get put in that situation?
Yeah, you're done.
This guy teaches people to do this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Let's pull up his curriculum.
Yeah, it's all legit. It's all legit.
Right.
And we could talk about this. Maybe I'll actually throw my link up to Firearms Legal Protection. There are ways to protect yourself.
Yeah, everyone should have it.
Yeah.
If you have a gun or you carry a gun or there's a gun in your house.
Yeah, or FLP, even any weapon of opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just guns. So I'll throw the link up if you're interested in. It's not actual insurance. It's a prepaid legal membership where you have attorneys on retainer.
Right.
And your call.
They're not insuring you. They're not going to pay.
Right.
If you had a fine or a civil suit.
Yeah. So super important, if you're in the bar talking about what you're going to do to people
and then you do it.
Yeah. Or you're, on Facebook telling what you're going to do to people, all those things, crazy. And then being conspicuous, stickers on your vehicle. I have some stickers.
You don't want the crosshair sticker in the middle of the back window and the SIG on one side and the Glock on the other?
No, I actually scraped off a Doc Holliday sticker off of the back of my window. I still have a Vortex sticker, but that
nondescript.
Yeah,
unless you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Right.
But yeah, having.
But the crosshair.
Yeah.
And the
go ahead,
make my day sticker right next to it.
That's bad. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
So be careful. All right, let's talk about. Excuse me. Use of physical force in defense of property and premises. Okay. This is not your house. This is property.
It's not castle.
Yeah. Your backyard. Yes. This is talking about your shed, your backyard, maybe a detached garage.
I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have, and one of the things that should be really vocalized more.
Well, let's talk about it. Okay. This is CRS 18-1-705 and 18-1-706. Deadly physical force is not legally justified in defense of property and premises.
Right.
Right.
If a guy's breaking into your garage that's not attached to your house.
Yeah. Your shed in your backyard? Nope.
Yeah.
Your car in your driveway?
Right.
Nope. Right. But reasonable and appropriate physical force may be used to the extent reasonably necessary to prevent or terminate theft. So you could go out and use physical force, just not deadly. That could turn into a different situation. Criminal mischief, criminal tampering, trespass by other person in or upon a building, realty, or premises. Okay. Basically, for me, don't use deadly physical. I won't even go confront somebody. If somebody's breaking into my car outside, I might yell from the window.
That's it.
Don't go out there. It's not worth it. You're opening up,
Well, here's the thing. One of two possibilities are going to happen, and neither of them are good.
Right.
You're going to go out there and, one, get shot.
That sucks.
And that sucks because there's no respawn. You're just done.
Mm-hmm.
B, you're going to do something that you thought was legal,
Mm-hmm.
and come to find out now you're the one doing 15 years for manslaughter.
Or even if you don't get the manslaughter charge, you still may get the civil suit,
Right.
right? And
$5 million to the guy that was stealing your bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah. His mom, he was a good boy.
He was misunderstood and he didn't mean to be in that yard.
Now, you may use deadly physical force to prevent a trespasser from committing first-degree arson.
They have gas, they have matches, they're pouring the gas.
And there's somebody occupying that space.
Right. Can't be just an empty building.
Right. I think that's what first-degree arson.
I think you shoot the gas tank in that situation, right?
Sure. Now, let's talk about this is the one I think people get jacked up. And this is the make my day law, which isn't actually a thing, or castle doctrine is the appropriate thing to call it. Colorado is CRS 18-1-704.5, use of deadly physical force against an intruder. Okay, now, there's things you could do in your house that you can't do on the street, and we'll get into the big difference here in a minute. The way the law reads is you are justified in using any degree of physical force, including deadly physical force, if you are a lawful occupant of a dwelling. Dwelling is a place that you habitat, your house. Okay? So you could use any degree of physical force, including deadly physical force, if you are a lawful occupant of a dwelling. And it doesn't end there, right? You can't just be the lawful occupant. There's a lot more to it.
My house, my rules.
Yep. You step in, yep. Yeah. Someone has unlawfully entered into your dwelling. Okay. So they're
inside.
Yep. Unlawfully.
Uninvited.
Uninvited. Okay. You reasonably believe they have committed, are committing, or will commit a crime in addition to the unlawful entry. And you reasonably believe they might use any physical force, no matter how slight, against any occupant of the dwelling. All right. So
the drunk college kid who accidentally walks into your apartment that looks exactly like his apartment one floor down.
Can't shoot him.
You can laugh. You can guide him downstairs.
Yep. Exactly. Sometimes in class, people ask me, like, when can we shoot him? And it's like, no, that's the wrong attitude. They want to know when the law permits
Where's the
them.
line? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, let's say somebody has dementia,
right,
and they walk into the wrong house.
Yeah. Or
you forgot to lock your door at night and you come down the stairs and there's a stranger sleeping on your couch. You don't get to anchor shoot them. Right? What are you doing here? Bap, bap. Nope. Right? So you're lawful to be there. It's your dwelling.
They're not.
They're not. You believe they've committed, are committing, or will commit a crime in addition to the unlawful entry. So that could be in the past, in the present, or in the future. They're going to commit another crime. And then here's the thing. You think they're going to use any physical force, no matter how slight,
right,
against anyone in the dwelling. So that's a big difference. Out in the world, right, you have to be in fear of imminent danger. You need to reasonably believe that you are in imminent danger of death or serious bodily injury. In your house, you just have to think that they might use physical force no matter how slight.
Sure.
Plus, you need to think that they're committing a crime, have or will commit a crime, right? Then you could use physical force at any degree. You could use anything you want to stop them.
So the statement is, they broke in. They were trying to steal my jewelry, and I thought he was going to beat me up.
There you go.
That's the statement.
It could be.
I mean, it fits all three.
It does. Yep.
But you have to have all three.
Right. Now, if you invited me over here, Trevor, and we started drinking, because we're both real heavy drinkers, right? And we started talking about religion and politics.
And I got mad.
You got mad, and you told me, get out of my house. But I'm a happy drunk. I'm like, no, bro, I love you, man.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Come here.
No, you got to go, right? You don't get to just Yeah, you can't use deadly force here either.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
They didn't break in. They have no intent other than to disagree with you.
Yep.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
you always see the people on social media say, if you shoot them outside the door, drag them in.
2 shots in the ceiling for warning shots. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
Forensics is too good for that. Right.
And there's too many. Everybody has a ring doorbell.
Here's the thing about deadly force, right? Like I've heard this described like this. Okay, when you're playing a game, like you're playing a football game, the game is over when it's over.
Right.
Right. When you play this game, you don't get to decide when it's over.
Right.
It's going to keep going and going and going. You're going to have people digging into your life and finding anything they can to prove that this was
you were the monster.
You're the monster. Yep. It's going to cost you 150 grand maybe to defend yourself.
Or more.
Could. You could go to jail and not have bail set, or you could have a bail that you can't pay.
Right.
And you'll keep playing this game until other people decide it's over for you.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing about it is a portion, just because you have a firearm, just because you're trained to use it, maybe you're good with it, maybe your firearm safety is through the roof, your technical ability is great. You still should always be looking to never.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to never and you have to, then there'll be so much evidence on your side of the game that
you'll be defendable.
And because you look for every reason not to. Every reason not to.
Yeah.
It's just you see old fighters, you see jiu-jitsu guys, and everyone thinks that they're hotheads and all they want to do is fight. But when you're out in public with them and you have many friends that have been fighters for a long time, what do you see from them? And it's the last thing they want to do is get in a fight.
Yeah, plus it's so easy for them.
Right, but they'll just I do it, and I know other friends of mine that fight do it. The boisterous guy that is just a clown and you could beat up right now. Right. How easy is it just to tell him, hey, dude, what's beating me up going to do for you? Right. I've already brought it down. I've given him what he needs.
Yep.
I've
you yielded.
Hey, buddy, beating me up's not going to do anything for you. Let's just go over here. Could I beat? Yes, I'll beat him up.
Right.
Do I need to? No. Same thing with a gun.
Like it. All right. Going to get into some closing thoughts, unless you have anything else.
I hope not.
No?
I've been going and going.
You've been a great guest. Closing thoughts. Number one, I will put, actually, Kay Miller will be so gracious to put a link up for my, what do they call it? Affiliate link for firearms legal protection. It's a good way to protect yourself. You could just dig through there. The thing I like about FLP, number one, is the coverage is great. Number two, the simplicity of it. There's 3 plans to pick from. You don't have to rack your brain trying to figure it out.
You don't have an engineering degree to figure it out. You can just read it.
Yeah, and it's really simple to get signed up and understand what's going on. So, yeah, they have great coverages, and there's 3 plans to pick from. So you'll be able to figure it out. If you have any questions, reach out. Closing thoughts. If today anything on the show hit home for you, take a second to share this episode with somebody you know, text it to a friend, tag it in your story, or just sit with God for a moment and ask, where do you want to send me, Lord? And hey, if you haven't already, hit the follow button. I'm just getting started with this podcast. Subscribe to the Team Awesome Podcast Studio.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Turn on the notifications.
Yeah.
You'll get them all for this one and all the others.
And remember, it's about calling, clarity, and keeping it real every time. Thanks for listening to the Rebel Yankee podcast. Stay aware, be prepared, and remember, God doesn't use the perfect, He uses the willing. And we'll catch you on the next one.